The First Order's dreadnought, Fulminator, sliced through the uncharted reaches of space, its polished metal glinting under the light of distant stars. Commander Phasma stood at the bridge, her tall chrome-plated figure imposing. This region of space was unknown territory, ripe for conquest. Her orders were simple: assess, eliminate any threats, and bring new worlds under First Order control. Lieutenant Dawes, hunched over his console, broke the silence. Commander, unidentified ship on long-range sensors. Approaching fast. It's heavily armed. Phasma narrowed her eyes behind her visor, intrigued. This sector had been reported as uninhabited and primitive, unlikely to have advanced technology. Visuals on screen, the display flickered to life, revealing a hulking alien warship, intimidating and angular. It gleamed under deep red lights that pulsed along its hull. The ship's design was like nothing from the known galaxy. It seemed built for war, for sheer intimidation. A Klingon bird of prey. Before Phasma could analyze it further, a comm signal burst through the bridge speakers. The screen flickered, displaying the rugged face of Commander Korath, his dark eyes blazing beneath a heavily ridged forehead. "This is Commander Korath of the Klingon Empire. You have entered Klingon space, human. Declare your purpose or prepare to be destroyed." Phasma's voice was cold and commanding. "This is Commander Phasma of the First Order. We claim this sector in the name of Supreme Leader Snoke. Klingon or not, stand down or face elimination." Korath's dark laugh reverberated across the comms. "The Klingon Empire does not surrender, First Order. We are warriors. We welcome the test of battle. Today will be glorious." Phasma smiled under her helmet. She admired a worthy opponent. "Very well, Korath. You're about to witness the might of the First Order." She nodded to Lieutenant Dawes. "All weapons online. Target the bird of prey." The first assault, Phasma's order, unleashed a torrent of energy blasts from Fulminator's heavy cannons. The Klingon bird of prey shot forward, weaving in and out of the assault with surprising agility. Disruptor beams answered back, carving streaks of green light across the dreadnought shields, causing them to pulse and shimmer under the impact. A blast found its target, striking the Klingon vessel's side, sending it into a brief spin. Korath's gruff voice barked orders to his bridge crew. "We have taken a direct hit, Commander," one of Korath's officers reported as sparks flew from an exposed panel. Korath bared his teeth. "We are Klingons. We fight harder when the odds are against us. Arm the torpedoes and give me more power to the disruptors. Let them feel the wrath of the Klingon Empire." From the bird of prey's launchers, two bright red torpedoes shot forward, skimming around Fulminator's shields in a precise arc before striking the vessel's underside. The blast rocked the dreadnought, sending a shudder through its hull. Red warning lights flashed across Fulminator's bridge, and Phasma steadied herself against a console unfazed. "Direct hit on lower decks, Commander." "Shields are holding but weakened," Dawes reported, panic creeping into his voice. Phasma's tone was deadly calm. "Prepare for boarding defense. These Klingons seem eager for a close fight." The boarding attack, a heavy clang echoed through the corridors of Fulminator, as the Klingons docked and cut their way into the hull. Moments later, the metallic clang of boots rang through the ship as Klingon warriors stormed inside, disruptor pistols blazing. The first wave of stormtroopers fell under the surprise attack, their white armor no match for the ferocity of Klingon fire. Phasma strode toward the sound of the firefight, her electrostaff drawn and crackling with energy. She rounded a corner, catching sight of a squad of Klingons advancing with brutal coordination. They wore expressions of grim determination, their primal battle cries echoing off the walls. They were an imposing sight, warriors in every sense of the word. Phasma didn't hesitate. She charged, her staff whirling as she struck down the first Klingon in her path, the electrified end of her weapon slamming into his chest. He dropped, but the rest surged forward, grinning as they met her charge head-on, disruptors blazing. The fight was fierce, brutal. Phasma swept her staff in a wide arc, deflecting disruptor shots, then slammed the end of her weapon into another Klingon's jaw, the impact crushing bone. Yet for every Klingon she downed, two more replaced him, pressing her back with unrelenting force. Through the chaos, a familiar figure stepped forward, a grim smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. Commander Korath himself. His disruptor was in one hand, a jagged batolith gleaming in the other. His eyes burned with the thrill of battle. He laughed, a guttural sound. "You fight well, Phasma, but let's see how you handle a real Klingon warrior." Phasma's eyes narrowed behind her visor. "You're about to find out." Duel of commanders. The two commanders circled each other, sizing up their opponent. The clang of metal on metal filled the corridor as Korath brought his batolith down in a powerful arc, meeting Phasma's electrostaff with a loud crackle of energy. Sparks flew as she deflected his strikes, each one coming down with crushing force. Korath's skill was undeniable. He wielded his weapon with precision and aggression, pressing her to the limits of her speed. Phasma dodged a sweeping strike, twisting around and delivering a blow to Korath's side. He grunted, momentarily off balance, but his grin only widened. "Your strength surprises me, First Order, but you are no Klingon." He lunged, the blade of his bat'leth slashing past her helmet, close enough to leave a jagged mark on the chrome plating. Phasma countered, twisting her staff around his weapon and knocking it from his grip in one swift, calculated move. Korath stumbled, weaponless, but his pride held firm. "Impressive," he growled. "But you won't defeat us so easily." As if in response, a second squad of Klingon warriors charged down the corridor, disruptors raised. Phasma raised her electrostaff to strike, but Korath had already retrieved his bat'leth, his gaze fierce and unyielding. Just then, Dawes' voice crackled over Phasma's comlink. "Commander, multiple Klingon ships are closing in. They'll outnumber us 4-1. Korath's deep laugh filled the corridor as he sheathed his bat'leth. "The Empire does not fight alone, Phasma. Perhaps now you see the strength of the Klingon Empire." Phasma gripped her staff tightly, but she saw no victory in sight. Reluctantly, she signaled her troops to retreat. Korath watched her, an unexpected glint of respect in his gaze. "One day, Commander Phasma," he vowed, "we will finish this, but today I grant you mercy." Phasma looked at him, her face hidden behind her visor but her voice laced with steel. "We don't need mercy, Korath. This isn't over. The First Order will return." The stand down. The fulminator powered up its engines, disengaging from the Klingon ship as more birds of prey emerged from warp, their presence casting ominous shadows against the dreadnought's battered hull. Korath's eyes followed the retreating ship, the fires of battle still raging in his chest. In his quarters, Korath reflected on the fight, his gaze lingering on the weapon marks left by Phasma's staff. He had found a worthy foe, a rival who matched his pride and determination. He clenched his fist, vowing to meet the First Order again, to prove once and for all the supremacy of the Klingon Empire. Epilogue. Phasma stood on the bridge, watching as the stars streaked past them in hyperspace. Her armor was marred from the clash, but she wore the marks with pride. The Klingons, she thought, had been a formidable opponent, unlike any the First Order had faced before. Their fervor for combat had left a mark on her mind, a reminder that there were warriors beyond their galaxy, beings who could truly challenge the First Order. In their separate realms, Phasma and Korath made the same vow. The next time they crossed paths, there would be no retreat. A war of glory awaited, a contest between two battle-driven forces where only the strongest would stand victorious. The fires of war smoldered in the depths of space, each faction readying itself for the next encounter. And somewhere out in the cold dark void, destiny waited for them both, for the Klingon Empire and the First Order to collide again in a war that would shake the stars themselves.